Hi everyone. Today I'm going to introduce you to the gorgeous Lauren. Now, Lauren's got a lot of interesting things that she's been doing in her life. She's actually a sexual freedom ambassador. And she's also a mum of four, with 4 children ranging from 10 to 3 years old, and one's a special needs child. So she's a very busy mum. She's also studied NLP. She's a somatic sex coach and a self-pleasure facilitator. Hi, Lauren. How are you today?
Hi, beautiful. Thank you for having me on.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's just great talking to awesome people that do amazing different things that no one's ever heard of half the time. So, how did you get into being a sexual freedom ambassador? What did you start off with first? Everything's a stepping stone. So what was the first step?
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like everything in my life from the moment I was born has definitely, obviously, been a stepping stone in its own way. But I would say, so I'm a single mum of 4, and I split up with my ex-husband 1 week before I found out I was pregnant with baby number 4. So we split up. And what we were experiencing in our relationship at the time was he had suffered a traumatic brain injury, and he was experiencing a lot of psychosis, a lot of personality change from the person that he was before. There was a lot of volatility, a lot of aggression, and there was some domestic violence and sexual abuse happening. And when we did split up, that was because he had kind of directed it towards the kids for the first time. And so I was like, okay, we're done. A week later, I found out I was pregnant with baby number 4. So I knew from the get-go that I was going to be a single mum of 4. And that pregnancy was challenging. Like I had been his carer. I had been my ex-husband's carer since the accident. So we'd split up. I was still his carer. And then I was bringing a 4th baby into the world on my own, and I was raising the 4 kids and trying to hand over the care duties to other professionals. And it was just after my youngest turned 1. So I did that for a good 18 months. And it was just after my youngest turned 1 that my sister offered for me, or asked for me, to do some of her boot camps for her because she was getting her wisdom teeth out. So I'm a professionally trained, qualified personal trainer, Pilates instructor. And at the time, this is 2 years ago now, at the time, I was like, of course I can run those boot camps for 2 weeks for you while you recover. And that was the first thing that I had done solely for myself since having baby number 4. And I loved it so much. And I just remember when the 2 weeks was over, I remember like saying to the universe, it was very much like I'm ready for me now. And that week, one of my mentors reached out to me and was like, hey, she was offering me a place in the NLP practitioners training that she was running for me to get my qualification and certification as a NLP and life coach, as well as timeline therapy. And it just all fell into place. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So, and then one thing just led to another, to another, to another. As soon as I stepped into the container to become qualified and certified in my NLP coach and practitioner training, everything started breaking down. And it was all these systems and all these beliefs that were in place around sexuality, around relationships. I had been separated for 18 months at that time, and I was still celibate, and I was punishing myself, and I was just filled with so much shame and guilt because I had left my husband. And I got raised that, we don't do that, and we don't have sex outside of marriage. And so all these constructs were breaking down. And I stepped into a lot of personal development containers that were around sexuality. I stepped into ISTA level 1 and 2. I did a sex magic course. I had a beautiful ritual where I ended the celibacy after 2 years, and it was amazing. And just one thing led to another. And last year, I started working as a stripper. I actually came back from one of the ISTA trainings and was like, yeah, I've always wanted to do this. I'm going to start working as a stripper. So single mum of 4, working 3 nights a week as a stripper while doing the self-pleasure grads, finishing off my certification as a somatic sex coach and self-pleasure facilitator. And I loved that. And for me, that was a huge... that was a huge whole new world, right? Because stripping is part of the sex industry. It's part of sex work. It's part of the adult entertainment industry. And it was so taboo the way I was raised. And even today, there are still so many shadows and stereotypes and censorship around that.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's just amazing. Like a mum of 4 getting into all in just 2 years after having your baby, that you had the empowerment to actually go stripping. Like, to me, I'm still getting over my kids and they're 30.
When I think about it that way, I'm like, yeah, wow. At the time, it didn't seem so crazy because it felt like 2 years since having her was a long time. But now when I think about it that way, I'm like, oh, yeah, wow. Like 2 years after having my 4th child, I was climbing on a pole, like getting naked, getting paid hundreds of dollars. Yeah, I loved it though.
Yeah, and would have been awesome exercise too, pole dancing. If you
so good for your core.
What's that?
So many bruises. It's so good for your core, and there's so many bruises involved too.
I did do a couple of 6 weeks of pole dancing classes, and yeah, I was full of bruises. My chiropractor kept saying, "What are you doing?" So yeah, no, the tremendous ability for someone to actually get up on stage, let alone get up on a stage and strip and do pole dancing, like, oh my God, that's just awesome. I'm in awe of all that. Something I've missed my calling.
It's never too late.
Yeah. So how do you go about with the self-pleasure, being a self-pleasure facilitator? How does that work?
This is a good question. I actually get asked this a lot. I kind of love the mystery that's around it. But what I tell people is, so the way that I work as a self-pleasure facilitator is I'll work one-on-one, or I can work with couples. And we can do it online. Most of them are online via Zoom, especially thanks to COVID and isolation. However, I do them in person for those who live locally. I'm Brisbane-based. So my Brisbane-based clients have the option to do it in person. I love doing it in person. It's very powerful. But it is just as potent via Zoom. And these sessions involve I combine the NLP coaching techniques, so which is a little bit of talking, like it's more talk therapy, a little less somatic experience. It's about identifying our beliefs and really consciously choosing a belief system that we want to live our life by. And then we will move into somatic practices such as self-pleasure facilitation. And, that's going to look really different to the individual client and to what they're currently experiencing and what they're wanting to experience. And it will change, session to session. But it's a very deeply energetic practice. And it's always an honor. It's always such a deep honor to be able to witness and guide people through that. One-on-one is what I mostly get people for one-on-one. So couples are, I find them to be a much smaller market for myself personally. I get a few, and but they're probably only like 5% of my clients.
And probably what everyone wants to know and thinking, oh my God, you've got couples. What happens? Are they naked and are you teaching them how to do sex? That's probably what the big question is, what everyone's even asking. So just debunk whatever the myth
This
there
is a
is.
good question. Cool. Okay, so self-pleasure facilitation, I'm not like I wouldn't say I'm teaching anyone to self-pleasure. I wouldn't say I'm teaching anyone to have sex. I'm more like I'm holding myself and being a reflection of how they can relate with themselves. Do I teach couples to have sex? Couples can absolutely, yes, get naked if I'm facilitating a self-pleasure session with them. But it would be me in a self-pleasure facilitation. It would just be me. I wouldn't get naked unless they wanted a mutual self-pleasure experience, which they can absolutely ask for and which I absolutely do provide and have done for people. A mutual self-pleasure experience would be, we would do the same talk, NLP talking, and then we would both move into a self-pleasure practice that's around, once again, like it's still around what they're currently experiencing, what they want to experience, and what they're having in their life at that time, like what they're in that day, for sure. I'm not teaching them to have sex though. Right. But if you want, we can talk about sex work. No. I have stepped into sex work a little bit this year. Yeah.
So how's that going with the isolation stuff that's going on? I don't want to say the C word anymore. I'm sick of hearing it. But
yeah,
how are you going with
that? Me
too. Is it still?
Obviously, it's been about 4 months now that I've not been doing one-on-one in-person sessions. So it's really funny. The main work that I've been doing at the moment has been the online coaching sessions. I've recently taken a group of women through a course, The Sexual Mother. That's a 4-week container, and that's all online, but it's been absolutely amazing. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, it's amazing because knowing a little bit about this work, because this is where I met Lauren. Everybody is through the Somatic Sex Coaching course, and it's the more you talk about it to other women, well, even men, but mainly women, they are all ears. They want to know more about it because you don't realise sometimes that, oh, am I the only one that feels this way? Oh, there's someone else feels like that. Or someone else I can talk to about that. So it's people slowly coming out of the woodwork thinking, I want to hear about that. And it is a very interesting subject, isn't it? Because it's something that's been hidden under the blanket for a long time, so to speak. Yeah, and if you're spreading a really good word, it's only for the good of mankind. And having
it's about starting a conversation, isn't it? Like, let's actually start talking about all these things. You know, I had this woman the other day in the group, and she was sharing about how she masturbates, and she's like, whenever I masturbate, it's always the same way, and I only orgasm when I masturbate. It's always the same way. It's super quick. It's only in like this position when I have to be lying down on my back, like I have to tense my legs real hard. She was describing it all, like down to the detail, and she was laughing and she was feeling a little embarrassed. But then she like finished her share and was like, "Does anybody else experience this too?" Every other mother and woman in the group put their hand up. They were like, "Yeah, totally." And it's just eye-opening to them all to be like, "Wow, I'm not alone." And then to go and step into a space where they get to open up to the potential of sex and self-pleasure and sexual energy and orgasms being available in such a full capacity all over their life.
Yeah, and not realising too, once you do open up to all that, how much of the good part of the world opens up to you as well. You're starting to attract amazing things. Yeah, so it all stems from our sexuality and how we experience it. And if we only could spread the word faster, it would be fantastic, particularly right now. Yeah. So what's your future? What do you think? You're going to keep going into this field or build up bigger and bigger or become a guru in it all?
Did you say become a guru? I'm not a guru. I am just the same as every other human being out there, same as everyone else who's watching this. Yeah, for now it's to keep going. Right now I'm currently doing a collaboration with a very special sister of mine who she works with people on their body image, and we're going to combine a course that's around body image and your sexuality and how the two relate, and it's going to be open for men and women, helping people also change the way that they relate to the actual sex center. So, you know, identifying what their current relationship is with their cock or their pussy or their yoni or their lingam or whatever they want to call it. And that's going to get released in August, which I'm really excited about that. But speaking of stripping, we were speaking of stripping earlier. I actually have been working on a course. I want to do a group program for people to connect with or undress their inner stripper, which is going to be heaps of fun. It'll be like a fun party course. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, journey into the dark feminine.
That'll also be great for hen's parties and things like that as well. Just,
so much.
I know I'm making this a lighter note, but you know, you're always looking for something different when you want to have a bit of a party. That's a great one.
Yeah,
just a little bit of bit of burlesque thrown in, and all that type of thing. Yeah.
It's funny. I used to do burlesque.
Oh, did you? Oh my God.
I danced for 12 years, like all throughout my schooling years. I did.
So you didn't need to learn any dance moves, you knew it already.
Yeah. Well, no, I definitely had to learn some pole tricks. They're very unique and special.
So how do you work around your children, particularly when you can't sort of, well, I suppose you're sending them to school now, but before you're homeschooling, are you still homeschooling at all? Or what's happening there?
No. Homeschooling was a challenge. I didn't enjoy it. I mean, there were parts of it I enjoyed, but homeschooling is not something that I have ever wanted to do. I'm so grateful for the schooling system because they're actually one of my main supports. They're one of my main avenues of child-free time. So while they were homeschooled, I didn't work at all. I'm very grateful. So my special needs boy goes to a program, and it's 5 days a week. It's run similar hours till school, like 9:30 till 2:30. So I was really just over the moon that kept going because it was considered an essential medical intervention, I guess, or therapy. Yeah. So that helped. And yeah, now they're all back at school. I have been working again. I think some people, I usually get questions like, how do you do it all? Like 4 kids and you work for yourself and you still have like social time and playtime, and I do not do it all at once, obviously. Work for me is not, I don't work like a 40-hour week or anything like that. I'll work like, all I need is like 1 or 2 clients a week and I'm good. Yeah, so that's how I juggle it all, is school and, kindy and daycare are my biggest supports. And I don't push myself to try and do too much work because I still value my time as a mum, especially while they're so young. I still value my time to myself. I think all the mums out here could relate, or all the parents could relate to when there's like small children, independent people who are just wanting you all the time. I value being alone so much. So it's super important for me to still have alone time as well as playtime, like socializing with friends and lovers and getting out in nature. Like it's all about having it all, just not at once.
Yeah, it's a big balancing act. And sounds like you're doing amazingly well.
Oh, at times, thank you. During ISO, it was, you had to give in some areas, like in ISO, obviously business-wise, I had to give for a bit, like just release that a little bit so that I could have any me time at all. It was like, well, I've got children full-time. Do I want to work or do I want to just go and sit by myself for an hour? I want to be alone.
What would you say to any woman, any age, who wants to get into this type of work? You got any tips for them or suggestions what to do, how to get started?
Yeah, I would say if they want to get into it, then to listen to that. Like stop and listen to their body. Like when they think about that wanting to get into it, what do they feel in their body? Like and not just the emotions. People are very quick to go straight to the emotions, but like sensations. What sensations do you feel in your body when you think about that? Like even just now talking about it, I feel excitement, you know, I feel the tingly sensations all over my skin. I feel like my whole core center is expanding. It's absolutely delicious.
I feel like that too.
Yeah, right. I'm just like, listen to
Yeah.
it, stop and listen to your body and the feelings, and then go for it. Listen to those sensations in your body and not the stories in your head. The stories in your head will give you 100,000 reasons why you shouldn't or why now's not the time, but your body knows.
Yeah, and if you wait and wait and wait till the right time, it may never be the right time, or
Yeah.
it's too late because your life's taking another turn. Whatever. Yeah. So it's a calling, and if it's there and you've got the right support system as well, you really need to have the right people around you that are supporting you.
I would
And
also
listen.
say if you around support systems, if you're finding you don't have the right support systems around you, you get to go out of your own way to look for that support and create it and call it in. Like, and I say this from the space of someone who once upon a time, I had the story and the belief that I didn't have the right supports around me. You know, especially with my ex-husband's family, they weren't around much, especially after the accident. They weren't very present. Even to this day, they're not a huge part of our lives, my life, the children's life, even his life. And I definitely ran the story that, I didn't have the supports around me. But when I got out of my own way, I got to go out and create it and ask for it. And that could look a million different ways. But I would just like to say, like, don't value yourself because you deserve the support and you get to ask for it. To every woman, every person out there.
Yeah. And the whole thing that you are promoting and doing is your calling is so essential. It's actually essential service, particularly when we're all so busy with technology and doing things. Well, at the moment, you know, we are doing a lot online, and yes, we can still communicate that way. But the feeling, the touching of other people, or just the presence of other people, is so important when we're made to feel isolated at this point in time. So it's such a high importance job. And when you say job, a career or calling that you're doing, and it's amazing. Is there any little self-pleasure practice you could run us through that's just like for 10 minutes or so? That's get us out of our heads and into our body just for a short time?
Oh, yeah, we can absolutely do that right now if you want. All right. So what I could do is I'll invite anyone who's watching, and I'll invite you now if you want to settle yourself into a comfortable position, and we could be sitting or lying. I won't make this long, just like I'll do like a 10-minute somatic descent into the body, basically. And this practice is about the practice over process, what we're about to do. So rather than focusing on the process of a self-pleasure session with a certain outcomes, we're actually just going to focus on the practice of it right now. The practice of taking the time and space to pause and drop into our body and listen. And that's all it's going to be for like the next 10 minutes.
Awesome.
So if you're watching the replay, if you're watching this live, find yourself a comfortable position. If you're watching the replay, press pause, set yourself up comfortably. You could even put music on in the background if you want.
Oh, hang on.
And
I'm just trying to put you on. How do I do that? Just can't remember what to do. No, that's not going to work. I did it one other day, but let me see. No. No. Okay. I don't seem to be able to do it. It's only me. All right. Let's see. No. Okay. I don't seem to be able to do it. No. Okay. 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 No
okay, we could do it, and I
Okay.
can guide through, and you could just sit there and do it if you like. So settling yourself down comfortably and closing down your eyes. And I'm going to invite you to just take this time and space now to become aware of your breathing, and just bring your attention to your breath. And as you start to become aware of your breath, notice how it feels moving in and out of your body. Notice whether your breathing is short and shallow and fast. And then I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath in through your nose and just gently sigh it out your mouth. And again, we're going to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. And as you continue this breathing, I want you to just bring your full presence and awareness to the breath. Notice how it feels moving into your body. Notice how it feels moving out of your body. Notice that your breathing has slowed and deepened. And as you allow the breath to fall out your mouth, allow any sound that wants to come with it to just travel out of you as well. And as you continue your breathing, drop your awareness now into your body and what sensations are present in your body right now. What does your body feel? Where are the sensations strongest? And as you identify where the sensations are strongest in your body, bring your awareness to that particular spot. You can even use your hands and place your hands on this part of your body. And continue to breathe. Breathe into those sensations and bring your energy. Notice if your thoughts are creeping into your awareness. Notice if you're focused on getting this right or wrong. And just allow these thoughts to drift on by. If your awareness is darting between your mind and your body, just gently bring some touch to your body, to wherever you are most feeling called to bring sensation. Has the sensation changed? Have the sensations moved? Perhaps you don't feel any sensations and you just feel numb. That's okay too. That's your body telling you something. Taking another deep breath in through your nose. Just allow it to sigh out your mouth. And now I'm going to invite you to place one hand on your heart space and the other hand down on your sex center. And as you just hold these, breathe. Breathe the air and the energy into your body, down through your heart space and all the way down into your sacred sex center. And as you exhale, allow that energy to move back up through your sex center, back up through your heart space and out your mouth. And for the next few breaths, just continue this cycle of energy. Breathing life into your body, in through your heart space, down to your sex center, and then coming back up and back out into the ether. Draw the air in through your nose, down through your heart, down your core, down through your sex, and then bring it back up your spine, back up through your heart space, and sigh it out. Back in through your nose, down your spine, down through your heart, right down your core and right down into your sex. And back out. Let it travel up from your sex center, up through your spine, through your heart space and back out. And now bring your awareness back to the sensations in your body. Back to the subtlest sensation. What's present and alive in your body right now. And taking one more deep breath in. And allow it to sigh out your mouth. And now I'd invite you to shake and move your body. And in your own time, you can open your eyes back up and come back to the room, come back to the container.
Wow. That's just so calming just to get into your own body and do that deep breathing and feel where the sensations are.
It's always nice for me. Like for me that time I noticed I had a lot of tension in the back of my neck. And then when I started just holding myself and circulating the energy, just it sort of spread out and I could just feel this, I'd describe it as like fireworks, like just down my arms and out my hands.
Yeah. Wow. Now, if anyone wants to get in touch with you and do this process, we'll put some links in the comments below. And people can get in touch with me if they want to get in touch with you as well. And I just want to let anyone else know that I do this somatic work myself. So if you want to get in touch with me to learn a little bit more about it, that's fine as well. And also I invite anyone who would like to talk about what they do in their career, their lifelong calling, whatever they want to share with us, please contact me and we can chat just like we've done with Lauren today. Thank you so much, Lauren, for everything. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Thank you, Pete.
Okay. Good night. Good day for everybody.
Good day.
See ya.